Welcome to Cross Culture New Mexico. I'm your host, Mark Tross. Today we're going to be talking about a very special feast, the Feast of Dedication, best known as Hanukkah. Now, this does not appear in your traditional Leviticus 23 list. Again, we're going to use some of the information out of this book, God's Appointed Times. It is written by Barney Kasdan. And we're going to go back to 67 B.C.E. It's after the time of Alexander the Great, when the Hellenistic movement came into Jerusalem and across the world as well. Coming into power was Antiochus the Fourth, known as Antiochus Epiphanes. He was a Syrian, and it's interesting because his name means God manifests, and we believe that the Jewish people called him Epimanes, which in their language meant crazy man, and we're going to explain to you why. It was a very interesting time for the nation of Israel, under bondage, just as they were in the time of Jesus, although they didn't believe that they were. And so there was a conflict of interest, and the Jewish people were told to stop keeping Sabbath, their kosher laws, and circumcision, or die. Now, this also happened during the Spanish Inquisition, and throughout history, we see it in the book of Esther, as she was risen up for such a time as this. And that's why we're here. So Antiochus marches into Jerusalem. He goes into the Holy Temple, which of course is forbidden by the nation of Israel for any non-Jew to enter into the temple. The altars, the utensils, even the golden menorah lampstand were all defiled or torn down. But that was just the beginning. So Antiochus ordered a pig to be slaughtered. Now we know that pork, of course, is unclean according to the Jewish laws at the time, but a pig was sacrificed on the holy altar, and he erected an image of the Greek god Zeus as the new point of worship in the temple. Antiochus insisted on being called Epiphanes, which is God manifest, enough to repulse any religious Jew, of course, and the Jewish community soon came up with an appropriate reflection of their feelings, as I said, calling him Epimanes, which means crazy man. So after this brutal attack took place, there was an uprising by a family known as the Maccabees. Now you can read about them in the book of Maccabees 1 and 2 in the Apocrypha books, but their last name was Mattathias Maccabee, and Mattathias was a godly priest who had 5 sons, and he and his 5 sons rose up against the Syrians at the time. They said enough was enough. They killed the soldiers and started a revolt against the oppressors. And one of the sons, Judah Maccabee, rose to leadership and was nicknamed Maccabee the Hammer. So it's very important that you understand that. We're going to talk about some of the prophecies regarding the hammer, according to Scripture, and the conflict of the Syrians. This took place around December, which is why Hanukkah and the idea of the menorah, because of the destruction or the defilement of the temple at the time, and the relighting of the menorah. So the Maccabees and their followers cleansed the altars and restored the holy furnishings and the broken menorah, and they wanted it lit to symbolize the light of God. Unfortunately, there was only enough oil for one day. Now it is recorded that they ordered the lamp lit anyway, and it remained lit for 8 days. And so God's light shone forth again in the temple. The temple was restored and rededicated. That's the importance of Hanukkah, to the glory of God, the God of Israel. And an 8-day festival, because of the miracle that took place, was established. It was called Hanukkah in Hebrew, which means dedication. Every year, starting on the 25th of Kislev, again, this would be around our December, and it's very important that you know and understand that, because you will hear things about the winter solstice, and it's not that they're not true, but I think it's more biblically accurate that the 25th, around December on our calendar, was the time of Hanukkah. It was a twofold miracle, the miracle of the oil and the miraculous military victory over their enemies. We'll talk more about the prophecies in the Old Covenant as we continue our conversation about Hanukkah, the Feast of Dedication, and we hope that you will dedicate yourself unto the Lord as a living sacrifice before Him during this and every season. Be sure to check out our website, crossculturenm.weebly.com, and like and share our Facebook page, as well as join us on other social media outlets. Follow us on Twitter. We appreciate you subscribing to this YouTube page, Cross Culture NM, and we'll talk to you next time.